If you've seen the earlier videos, you already know something important. The risk of entering decisions too late is already clear. So today, we're not revisiting that. What we're doing instead is getting very precise about how strong leaders enter decisions early without slowing teams down or becoming a bottleneck. Because early entry only works when it's done in a very specific way. And most leaders miss that distinction. The core rule is simple. Enter early. However, enter lighter. That phrase matters, so let's break it down in practical terms. Entering early does not mean joining more meetings. It does not mean reviewing early drafts, nor does it mean staying close to the work. Early entry is not about presence. It is about orientation. Strong leaders enter early to orient the decision, and then they leave. That is the part most people skip. So, what does orientation actually look like in practice? Well, it looks like three things delivered clearly and delivered once. First, you name the objective, not the task, not the output, but the objective. What outcome matters most in this decision? Is it speed, risk reduction, reversibility, stability? Whatever defines success this time, not in general. This immediately tells the team how to evaluate options without asking you again. Second, you name the constraint. Every decision has one, even if it's unspoken. Constraints like time, budget, regulatory exposure, downstream dependency. Strong leaders say the constraint out loud early so teams don't accidentally violate it later. This is not a suggestion. For you, it's a boundary. And third, you name the trade-off. What cannot be optimized at the same time? Think of speed versus precision, or flexibility versus consistency, even autonomy versus alignment. This is where most leaders stay vague, but strong leaders don't. Strong leaders make the tension explicit so teams don't have to guess which value wins under pressure. Then, and this matters, you exit. You don't have any follow-up questions. There's no idea sharing. There's no just one more thought. Because the value of early leadership entry is not in what you add. It's in what you remove from consideration. That is what keeps teams moving. Now, let's talk about timing. Because early does not mean constant. Strong leaders enter before commitment, not during design. Before teams narrow options. Before work expands. Before momentum locks in a direction. This moment is often brief, which is why many leaders miss it. However, when you enter here with direction rather than contribution, teams don't slow down. They accelerate because they no longer have to protect against future reversals. They know what matters and they know what doesn't. They know where judgment will and will not appear. Actually, let me clarify something here. This only works when leadership input is predictable. Teams move fast when they trust that early guidance will hold. If early direction keeps changing, teams hedge. If early entry turns into ongoing involvement, teams wait. So consistency matters more than frequency. Now, let's walk through a concrete example. A team is about to shape a roadmap decision. A strong leader enters early and says, "This decision needs to prioritize speed over completeness. We cannot introduce downstream risk here. If something can be reversed later, optimize for that." That's it. No review of options, no discussion of alternatives, no design input. The team now knows how to decide. They don't need approval. They don't need updates. They already have direction. In my experience, this is the moment teams either gain momentum or lose it. Not because of authority, rather because clarity removes hesitation. So, if you want teams to include you earlier, this is the pattern to practice. Enter before commitment. Offer orientation, not contribution. Name objectives, constraints, and trade-offs. Then, leave the work to the team. That is how strong leaders stay early without becoming slow. Most leaders already have the judgment teams need. The shift is learning how to deliver it without stepping into the work itself.